Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1990 comedy film Men at Work. A film that is written and directed by Emilio Estevez and it stars Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Leslie Hope, Keith David and John Getz. Now I'm going to be honest here, I was initially going to do this as a classic film review. This is a film that I used to watch all the time back in the day when it was released. I had it on VHS and DVD in the 90s, and I used to watch it all the time. And I really enjoyed it back in the day, and I thought I would rewatch it and do a classic film review on it. However, when I rewatched it, while I did enjoy the film, I don't think it quite comes in the category of a classic film. So I'm just going to do a normal film review on this film. Now, this film, like I say, came out in 1990. It was written and directed by Emilio Estevez, and it starred him and his brother, Charlie Sheen. And they work as garbage men who have got dreams of owning their own surf shop. They don't really take the garbage job particularly seriously, and they get embroiled in a conspiracy of there's a local chemicals company that is dumping all these toxins in the water, and a local politician threatens to, expose them. He ends up dead, shoved in a garbage can, and guess who find him when they go on their morning round? Yes, both Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen's character find him, and all sorts of shenanigans continue from that point onwards. Right, so Men at Work. Like I say, this is a film I watched an awful lot back in the day, and it probably spoke more to my sense of humour in my 20s than it does in my 40s, if I'm being perfectly honest. There are fun elements to this film, but it just didn't... It's probably a good 15 years since I last saw this film, and it didn't play out or it hasn't maybe aged some of the humour in it as well as I expected. Now, the chemistry here between obviously Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez is what makes this film really, really fun to watch. The brothers, they've been in films together before, Young Guns for example. Emilio Estevez, I think he's quite an underrated director, and he does a good job here. I think where this kind of loses its way is about just after halfway through. I mean, when you see them doing the shenanigans with the garbage men, there's some funny stuff. Keith David, who's in this film, is brilliant. He plays like a war veteran who's brought on board to keep an eye on them on their rounds because they keep getting in trouble, and he takes no crap from nobody, and he ends up making their life hell, but ultimately gets drawn into this huge plot line of like this chemical company spilling toxins in the ocean and things like that. So he ends up joining them, and so they kind of become this team. He's a great addition to the film. So the central performances here all work. There's great chemistry between all three of them, if I'm being perfectly honest, and they all do a good job, and there's some good gags. Nobody steals any of the scenes really. Well, you could argue Keith David does, but that's down to his talent. I think Keith David is one of the best character actors out there. He can turn it on in action, horror, comedy. He can do all of those things, and he can do them effortlessly, and he does them here. So when it focuses this film on the pure comedy side of things and the lighter side of things, it's fun. It's juvenile. It's the kind of film where they have rivals at this garbage company who they don't get on with, so they keep pulling pranks on each other, and to get the upper hand, Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez's characters put like an airbag in their locker full of crap. I mean, literally crap, and it explodes all over them. I mean, and look, there's no getting away from it. That's funny when you watch it. Yes, it's quite juvenile, I know this, but it's quite funny. So that sort of thing, the pranks they're pulling on each other, the interactions with them and Keith David, that it's funny. And then this film kind of loses its focus and loses its way when they start focusing more on the action side of it. Because, like I say, the last half an hour of the film is a bit messy. It becomes like an action comedy almost, the last half an hour of the film, and it just didn't suit what came before it. It was more slapstick before it, and that's when this film really, really worked. There's two cops that keep ragging on them. They get the comeuppance. That's funny. There's two hitmen in the film that are pretty useless. They're funny. They have got some funny moments in it, so that there's some good characters here in the film. There's another thing that doesn't work as well. I mean, Leslie Hope plays like the campaign manager of this politician who dies, so she gets embroiled into it and joins up with Charlie Sheen and things like that as part of the film. But he initially thinks she's a murderer, so he goes over to investigate. They end up connecting, and then within 5 minutes they're kissing on the beach, and you're just thinking, whoa, where did this come from? And that felt really jarring watching it. It didn't really bother me when I was younger, and when I watched it now, it was a bit like, what is going on? That's just not how relationships work. She met him an hour ago, tops, and now they're making out on a beach. So yes, there's quite a few elements and ingredients in this film that don't work, I'll be honest. And I can see that now as a maturer person and someone who's reviewed a lot of films. And it's a good example of, a film that you watched a lot when you were younger, and it said something different to you when you were younger. When you watch it again years later, when you've matured and understand film a little bit better, maybe it doesn't quite sit as well. So that's not to say that this is a bad film, because I don't think it is. There's a lot of fun elements in this film. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. If you've never seen it, there's a lot here to enjoy and appreciate in it, and there are some fun moments. It's just when it turns to the action element side of it, it tries to become like an action movie. That, for me, didn't really work. So that is my review for Men at Work. Check it out if you've never seen it. It's one of those little comedy gem type movies from the 90s that you might want to try and check out. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will be back with more content very, very soon.